Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Post-Mormon Project. I'm your host, Randy C. Watts, along with my co-host, Gene Judson, and we are in the virtual living room of Tim Rathbone. Tim Rath, as he's known today, I guess. Anyway, we have a subject that Tim has picked out for tonight. Tim, you want to introduce your subject? Tim can't hear me.
Can you hear me? Wait.
Let me do hand sign.
This might work. So Tim has given us an example of cognitive dissonance, where he's doing a show and at the same time he's not doing a show.
He's kind of whispering. I'm not sure why he's whispering, but I'll show you the shirt I wore today. I gave up eternal life for coffee. Yeah. Can't be
run one of your clips, Randy.
Okay. Let's run a clip. What kind of clip? Cognitive dissonance clips?
Here's kind of a cognitive dissonance thing.
The Lord does not need your money.
Be going this way.
Have you heard recently that
now I can hear you.
Oh, okay.
Okay, now you can hear us.
Hang on, let me get out of this one.
Cognitive dissonance.
Oh God.
So Randy, I did the one that Tim, can you hear us now?
I can hear you now.
Okay.
Excellent.
That was weird. We're having trouble with the internet. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't today. It's been going on and off.
Here's
I'm weirded out.
I'm using cell phone data. I just shut off the internet on both phones. And this one kicked me out. And then this one.
Okay. Let me run another cognitive dissonance clip.
If a destitute family is faced with the decision of paying their tithing or eating, they should pay their tithing.
Huh.
Yep.
Well, that's a good one.
That's a very good one.
Yeah, I think I'd maybe like to play this one.
She claimed that the Lord will not keep me out of heaven for a little cup of coffee. But because of that little cup of coffee, she could not qualify for Temple Recommend. And neither could those of her children who drank coffee with her.
Cracks me up every time.
Yes.
My glasses are fogged up now that had that emotional experience.
Oh my.
Well, Tim, we were asking you if maybe you would introduce the subject tonight, what we're going to talk about and why you chose that.
Why I chose it.
Or if you don't want to talk about it, I get it.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, so tell us what the subject is, Tim.
Cognitive dissonance.
Okay, tell us if it's the first time somebody's heard that word, what does it mean?
It is a difficult thing. Let me see. Let me pull up the definition.
Like two opposing thoughts are in your brain at the same time.
For instance, let's say that your doctor, you visit your doctor and your doctor says, you know what, I think you might have reduced headaches if you take in some caffeine. So try to drink a Diet Coke every day or even a cup of coffee every day to get that caffeine to relieve your headaches. Right. Well, you've got the doctor telling you to drink a cup of coffee a day, but you've got the religious leader telling you,
Society president.
The Relief Society president, sure.
Or you've got
telling if you drink that coffee, you're going to go to hell. But, what's better? Hell or a migraine headache?
Or I'll never forget on an episode of House where this guy came in and he was farting, and House prescribed him to smoke cigarettes, one a day, to stop farting. And that's an actual prescription. I looked it up. Well,
I
everything
thought
on
you were
that
going to
show
say,
was real. I mean, everything on that show was real because David Shore was a doctor and he checked everything out, and I blew me away. So now that can't be real. And I looked it up and it's real.
I thought you were going to say that he advised him to start smoking so it would cover the smell of the gas that he's passing.
Maybe. Oh, cognitive dissonance is the psychological discomfort you feel when your actions, attitudes, or beliefs clash. Because our minds naturally crave harmony, this mental friction causes stress, guilt, or anxiety. To relieve the tension, we often subconsciously rationalize our behavior or adjust our belief to match our actions. So, that's what cognitive dissonance is. And I'd say that most Mormons live in cognitive dissonance. I think that's
I would
a
say
pretty
that
fair assessment.
they have to, because the church differs so much from what the outside world says. And the church doesn't want to give an inch or change at all.
Change a thing. No,
Not a thing.
not a thing.
And that's what this whole show is about. So people in the audience, start thinking about the cognitive dissonance that you experienced as a Mormon so that we can add yours to the body of knowledge that we present here tonight.
Right?
Right.
Yeah. I'm just going to change locations really quick because
Are you going to your living room?
I'm going to go to the living room because I was advised that this background is not doing a good job. So while we're visiting, I'm just, switching up a little bit. But yeah, feel free to come into my living room.
Okay.
Okay.
So one
So Trevor,
big one.
have you ever experienced cognitive dissonance?
Who are you asking, Tim?
Trevor.
So a big one is the race and the priesthood ban.
That's a really big one.
Because you have to, right now we have to, accept all people. And yet the scriptures say most people.
Right.
Right?
Like,
yeah, there's a few groups that they exclude.
A mark of darkness so that they're not attractive to the whites in the Book of Mormon.
Right. Yeah.
So
the white and delightsome people.
okay. How about this? The earth is 6,000 years old, but science tells us it's millions of years old.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Brings
and
up
how
a good
about-
thing. There's people that have spectrum of feelings about their gender, and yet there's from on high in Salt Lake says, nope, there's only two. Even though we know scientifically, Tim, that there are people born with all kinds of mixed sex, and people experience different gender expressions because of different hormones that go over our bodies as we're
Experiencing things.
And then we have experiential things.
There's a great deal of cognitive dissonance when it comes to the religious field, also when it comes to the political field.
Oh,
I
definitely.
think there's actually just as much cognitive dissonance there I think you came up with an example of that, Gene, in our last show we did. The president, whoever that may be, the name that shall not be spoken.
Yeah. So there are a lot of people think the current president of the United States is wonderful and is doing a great job. And yet the price of gas is higher. The price of lots of groceries is higher. There's, unease across the world. And he said that he would be the peace leader. And he wanted a Nobel Peace Prize so badly and didn't get it. So he had a soccer club president give him a peace prize. And
took old gal's real Nobel
took
Peace
somebody
Prize.
else's prize, right? And so all these things, people think he's doing a good job. So if that's a good job,
and God put him there because it says in the Bible that the Lord chooses the leaders, right?
Well, from my experience, God never was a good economist.
So we all grew up in a secular world. Well, those of us who grew up in a public school system grew up with a lot of cognitive dissonance in science, mostly in science.
Right.
Right?
Like the age of
the age of the earth, right? The dinosaurs, all this stuff.
And the whole time, Tim, I was thinking, you are so wrong. You don't know what you're talking about. Man, was I so wrong that saying she was so wrong or he was so wrong.
Well, I'll never forget in my junior high science class, they had a rock that they thought was a dinosaur turd. And that's what my teacher used.
There are so many dinosaur turtles around here.
Did it smell like dinosaur poop?
It didn't smell like anything. It was a rock.
A turd.
But she passed it around one day and then she told us what it was. I'll never forget that.
But it was just a rock?
It was just,
or was it really?
It probably really was dino droppings, but it just fossilized.
Yeah.
I thought you said turtles and you said turds. So
no, I meant turd. I meant Stuckescheiß.
I thought you were attempting a joke, Jane, when you said turtles. Dinosaur turtles.
So anyway,
snapping turtle.
Tim, we have the whole program to get to all the things that you want to, but since this is in your living room,
we have so much.
And say hi to Brittany and hi to Dave.
Hi, Brittany. Hi, Dave.
Hey, Brittany. Hey, Dave.
You guys hear me?
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Super.
Yes. Okay. You can hear me now too. I don't know.
Yeah, we can.
It was weird. Anyway.
Speaking of fossilized dinosaur poop, I heard that Joseph Smith's chocolate seer stone could have been like a dinosaur gallbladder or something that had
probably dinosaur poop. They think it was dinosaur.
Could have been poop.
Could have been.
I think it's a load of poop.
It may have been an ancient taper.
A big truckload of poop.
It would be a perfect thing if it was dinosaur shit.
An ancient
led to Mormonism.
Go ahead, Dave.
At a point. Maybe it's a taper turd.
Say, Dave. Dave, say.
What?
What were you saying?
Tapir.
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 Tomato. Taper, tapir.
Tapir is classy.
Brittany, can you give us an example of cognitive dissonance in your life? Either current or past?
Well, I had to look up the definition. A psychological discomfort. A lot of it.
You know what? It's like when someone tells you that coffee, I just used this, but coffee you need a cup of coffee every morning to stimulate your heart and to keep your system going properly. The doctor tells you that. But yet your prophet tells you don't drink a cup of coffee. So now you're a little conflicted. That is cognitive dissonance.
I got one for you. I would say like some of the big moments in my time as being a Mormon, like when I really started to question things, one of them was the November 2015 policy, which like banned children of gay parents from being able to be baptized and go on missions. And I was a really believing Mormon then, and I just remember thinking, this is not right. Like why would that's not okay. And I had to take a few months of fasting and prayer and scripture study to try to figure out why such a wrong thing is happening. And I just came to the decision that it must be like a temporary which it was. So maybe I'm a psychic. Who knows? Maybe I'm a prophet. I don't know.
You could be a prophet. I would vote you in if you run.
I am trying to start a cult. I'm building a temple on Sims 4 right now just for the fun of it. So
Dave had some cognitive dissonance when he joined the church because he was told if he joins a church, if he is a good boy, if he prays, he will benefit. He will receive blessings. And what did you receive, Dave?
I mean, I did in the beginning. That wasn't the cognitive dissonance. Like, that's why I stayed in for a few years, was because I was getting the blessings and the business connections and all of that. I even had people in the church promoting my like Minecraft streaming, so that was cool. No, like the biggest cognitive dissonance was that I was told I could keep my cultural traditions from like Hinduism, because I've heard missionaries say that. You'll see people say that online. Yeah, people all around the world, they join the church, but they could still keep their customs. No, you don't. You can't.
Absolutely not.
Mm-hmm.
It
came from a cult of naturalism. And they said, come join the church. You can keep everything that you hold pure right now and come to church. And you come to church naked. That would cause other people some cognitive dissonance, I think.
Or at least wearing the emperor's clothes.
Yes. That's what I would say.
Indeed.
Cognitive dissonance is really what I like to think of as a compass for us. We run into it all the time, and then we have to make the decision. Cognitive dissonance always requires a decision one way or the other. Or at least I can't think of an example where a decision isn't needed. If you run into cognitive dissonance personally, you better figure out what's cog and what's nitiv and what to believe in. Thanks, Tim, for that little courtesy laugh.
You're welcome.
I'm processing.
Well, we've all been there. Come on. We've all been there.
My brain just broke.
Uh-oh.
Just broke?
Just now?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh.
What the heck has been wrong with you for the last couple of years, Dave?
I met you. I love banter.
That's very hurtful. I don't know. My feelings are pretty damaged, Dave.
Would you say you're experiencing psychological discomfort?
Some kind of cognitive crap. I don't know.
Okay.
You need to put it on the shelf.
Yeah, just put it under the shelf after you identify it as an unhealthy habit, moral conflict, or workplace ethical failure, according to the internet.
Workplace ethical failure. Oh.
I had to Google what cognitive dissonance meant before the show too, because I'm like, shit, I haven't heard that term in a while.
Like I know the word, but
show.
Yeah, it's not a word that anybody who is in the mainstream probably has even ever heard or thought about. But once you become a member of the Exmo community, suddenly you start hearing cognitive dissonance. And it's like the shelf breaking. I didn't know what that meant until I
The
joined.
first place I ran across it was in Mike Quinn's Post Manifesto polygamy article. That's the first place I ran across it in print. And I remember asking Mike, what does this mean? And he told me, and I went, wait a minute. I think I'm having that happen to me.
I think, a lot of people would use the term conflicted thoughts or conflicted teaching, because they're one half of their brain is telling them one thing, and yet the other half of their brain is learning an opposite thing or completely different thing. And we have to use it all the time, by the way, with our LDS prophets. And when I say our, I mean their LDS prophets.
No, there are prophets. They're the world's prophets.
Well, sure.
Well, I mean, listen.
They're everyone's prophets, whether you believe it or not.
Right. Exactly. Yes. It's like I watched those guys who talked about the shooting, the guy with the gun in Orem yesterday. And I'm watching these two guys talk, and I could just see their cognitive dissonance in their faces. It was like, how do we deal with this? Oh, well, I'm not going to obey what the church says. I'm open carry. And from now on, I'm going to carry my gun with me in case it happens again. And I'm going, yeah, right. You could there's a perfect example of cognitive dissonance while he's saying it. It's like, I'm going to disobey what the church tells me to do. I'm going like, oh, you're admitting there's a problem.
I wonder, Tim, how many people experience cognitive dissonance when the prophet is teaching them that there's a community of people on the moon. And who, with their scientific minds back then, what kind of cognitive dissonance must they have experienced?
Back then, people were ignorant. So I'd give them
not
some
all
grace.
of them. There were really smart people back then.
Yeah, but the people Joseph was talking to were not scientists. They weren't trained in science. They were.
So
Trevor, how do we know that?
Just real quick, Trevor has a good point here. So, the people who think that Joseph Smith can do no wrong, that now believe that he didn't practice polygamy because they think that polygamy is wrong, they are experiencing cognitive dissonance and so they deny the history because it doesn't fit in their brain to think that Joseph Smith could have done something that they think is morally reprehensible.
Okay, I don't know what happened from 1990 or 2000. Remember, I've been out since 2001, and I paid very little attention to what was going on in the LDS sphere until about 5 or 6 years ago. Okay, so somewhere along the way, when the church stopped teaching about Joseph and polygamy, because it was well known in my generation, and then this new generation comes along, and they claim they weren't told about it, they didn't know about it. And I'm going, then who were you talking to? Because my grandfather told me it when I was 12 years old. Okay. Well, younger than that even, because my family was polygamous. My grandfather, my mother's mother, come from a polygamous union. And how these people can't comprehend it just blew me away. Just like it's a mental illness. I see them as mentally ill right now. That's why I see them.
Yeah.
Is this green cheese theory mean like the moon is made out of cheese?
Is that Dave?
It's Kinder Kim.
No, because Dave
Brittany, are there people talking in the background?
Yeah.
Not in my background.
Dave is muted.
Dave
I don't have any people talking.
I can hear it also.
Yeah. Nobody's.
It's not mine.
Around here.
No one's doing dishes in my house.
What about Tim? Is anybody in your room talking?
No, there's just the cats.
Weird.
Just want to know how many there are? There's at least 5.
And so you haven't trained them to talk yet?
Oh,
No, I haven't trained them to talk.
So that was weird. It was like some things were going on.
Oh.
And
Yeah.
well,
Dave was muted. And
Tim is gone. Dave is back.
now Diamond Dave's back.
But I hear it again.
Yeah, I just got off the phone with a Mongolian therapist my wife wants me to try, so we're going to see how that goes.
Oh.
I didn't pay my counselor, and boy, is my therapist.
I can't say enough good about therapists and the work they do. Because
I've had really bad
my-
experiences in America with therapists, so that's why I'm
Reticent.
I am reticent
Cautious.
and hesitant. So that's why I bounced, because I was actually supposed to call her at 10. But yeah, so I was just like trying to get a greater of understanding of like what to expect.
Seymour Johnson, you are not connected.
Yeah, so
I don't think you want to connect them.
yeah, Seymour Johnson could be an adult film star.
I don't want to see that, Johnson.
I get it. I get it. I see what you did there.
So
Seymour
I didn't-
Johnson.
I didn't do it, but Seymour did it. But we'll see what happens.
Where's Seymour?
That's
You
hilarious.
know, you can put any name you want in here. So I think somebody in the chat is that same person.
Mike Hunt. Do we have Mike Hunt in the crowd?
I don't see it.
Well,
Mike, I don't.
the cats are talking.
No,
No, that
they're
was a ring.
sleeping.
This is a good one. It's the SCMC.
I hope so. I would love to have them over, smoke a cigar with them or something.
Let's do a commercial for Tim right now. If the SCMC is watching, please tell the leaders of the church that the most dangerous person right now is Randy C. Watts. And if you don't excommunicate him soon, the whole foundations of the church will crumble.
If you do not heed the words in this room tonight by Gene Judson,
The wrath of God will fall upon you.
You'll be in Tim's power.
Randy's,
That's
yeah,
right.
you'll be in my
You'll be in
power.
Tim's power.
My power.
I think the SCMC does smoke cigars. Haley said they don't. I think they do, because I literally, when I was living in Provo, smoked a cigarette like with we were at like a YSA, like I forget what it's called, it's like the family home evening, right? Well, the stake president was there, and he was smoking with me, and we're just sitting around a bonfire. We're just smoking and like just talking with
Whoa,
like,
time
my-
out.
and a bunch of other people.
What in the hell are you saying, Diamond? That your stake president and you smoked a cigarette together?
Wasn't my stake president, because I'm mid singles. It was a stake president.
Smoking a cigar?
Cigarettes.
Cigarette.
Cigars are kind of
They're fancy. So
Heavenly
yeah, I could see the
compared to
SCMC.
cigarettes.
I mean, and if you think about it too, like it makes sense, because like you look at anywhere in the world, right? Just pick a part where like alcohol is banned. You'll still see wealthy people or politicians with a brandy smoking a cigar in like Dubai and Saudi Arabia and like other like Middle Eastern countries. You will see that. Rules for me, or no, rules for thee, but not for me.
Right.
So
Which is
on
also a
the
form of cognitive dissonance.
on the part about smoking. So my dad in the 50s and 60s, if you looked up Jack Mormon, you'd probably see his picture. So he believed
Right.
the church was true, but he was way better at sinning. And so he thought he had no chance of going to heaven. So he might as well smoke and drink because he just couldn't help it. Right. So, but he tried still. So he went to go see a stake president, and the stake president told him, you know, I have desires too, like that. But maybe because maybe the guy used to be a non-member, or maybe he was inactive or something like that. But he said, you know what I do is whenever I feel like smoking or drinking, I go to the ice cream parlor and I have an ice cream. And my dad had cognitive dissonance at the time because the stake president was like 350 pounds. And he was like, how can that be healthier? And at the time, he might have been 180 or something like that, right?
Swig. You look at all these people who won't drink coffee, but holy shit, I've had swig, and I mean, I'll drink a couple 2 liters of soda in a day, and like I had swig, and like I felt the sugar grind on my teeth. Like, have you guys had swig? Like,
no, and I do not ever desire to partake of one.
So here's the thing. I'm going to say this, and people can take it how they want, but I'm like 14 now. It's 14 years clean of heroin. That's relatable. That's related because after having like one of the 32-ounce swig drinks, I was drinking it like a normal soda. I shit you not. I don't care if you believe this or not. That sugar crash and the withdrawal symptoms from all that sugar was very similar to my heroin withdrawal.
Oh, sure.
It was bad. Like I literally I drank it playing video games. It was a weekend, got it with my roommate. I woke up and like my skin's itching. I'm hot. I'm sweaty. I want to fight somebody. Like, and I had no idea what was going on. My heart is racing. Like, it was bad, dude.
Yeah, withdrawal can be scary. I'm on a mood stabilizer.
Who is it?
And I tried quitting one time, and I started pulling my hair out, and I was going nuts. I didn't want to be in my body. You know, they talk about thoughts of offing yourself when you're on these particular drugs. I never paid attention to that. But when I tried going cold turkey and just quitting, I was a basket case, and I had to go back on them because I found out that it's the same intensity as a heroin withdrawal. And it was scary. My son came over and took my gun, and you know, because I was talking to my sister and she thought I sounded like I might be, you know, have plans to unalive myself, but I didn't. But I mean, I didn't want to be alive while I was going through that. But, you know,
I've experienced stuff like that. I get what you're saying. It's nice that you had family that was right there and willing to like be there for you. That's good.
Yeah,
indeed.
Yeah, you got to be careful going cold turkey off those things.
Well, and there's another example, Brittany, of cognitive dissonance. You know, the doctor says, take this much morphine and this much hydrocodone. And I'm like, at the same time? And he says, oh, you're going to need it. Because I had a real severe surgery on my elbow, or I'm on my shoulder. And he was right. It hurt. But I'm thinking, he's telling me to take all these painkillers. I didn't, because I knew that you get addicted to them physically. You may not get mentally addicted to them, but physically, you need to keep taking them or you start going nuts.
See,
to me, that was totally cognitive dissonance. The doctor's saying this, but I know this from experience.
I'm not addicted to soda. I skip the middleman, and just every couple hours I go to the sugar bin and take a couple of bites.
Straight to the source.
And then I drink some water.
And then you don't have the artificial dyes. Like that's a really good idea. We should all switch to sugar.
Brittany, it's not a good idea. He needs to use sugar cubes because they're so much more convenient.
And fancy.
It's like sugar pills, you know, you just pop them in and nothing on your hands.
You could get the little sugar cube, like not tweezers. What am I thinking of? Pincher things, and then you could get them on the like a little
tongs, little tongs.
Yeah, like a whole little setup. I love it.
To Randy's point, actually, like so, when I joined like the Mormon church, And even like after I left, like I've had doctors tell me, because I've struggled with like addiction, right? One of the things is smoking, right? Doctors told me to get these nicotine pouches, right? And I'm weaning off of those. And
What are they? What are they called, Gene? Zins.
no, these are well, they're Zins, yeah. I mean, this is
Yeah.
EGP. It's a different brand, but same thing.
Right.
I love Zins, by the way. I love Zins.
Zinish.
Yeah. So yeah, so doctors told me to use nicotine pouches. But what they don't tell you is you get on nicotine pouches and it's actually like technically it's healthier for you because it's just a pouch with nicotine, but the nicotine is directly like on your gum, right? So it doesn't like go through your whole body. It like it hit hard. So it's actually harder to quit than cigarettes. So they, by helping me quit cigarettes, it got me hooked on these. And now I just wish I stuck with smoking because the withdrawal symptoms are worse on these than cigarettes are.
I have a quick story about that, Diamond Dave. I went fishing with my son this past weekend, and we're out in the water, and he pulls out some Zins. And anyway, I recognized him because I have a little thing of them. I just learned about them. So instead of smoking a cigar, I can take one of those and get a way better buzz. Anyway, my son was in Germany and he had run out of Zins. And he was there on a business trip here a few months ago. He popped into a store, a German store. He says they carry everything. Mm-hmm. And he asked if they had them, and they said, yeah, and they gave them to him. And she says, very strong. And my son's like, yeah, I can handle that. And so he put one in his mouth on the way out of the store and passed out in the street right there. They were 300s. 300s, which they can't even sell in the United States. It's
300 milligrams of nicotine.
Yeah, my son does 15s, and
I do 14.
That about 15. Knocked me on my butt, but no, theirs were 300 milligrams. He put it in his mouth, and this is a Navy SEAL. He doesn't pass out for anything, and he went down in the street. They missed their flight and everything.
My wife actually tried a Zin, and like she almost fainted, and like she was having a hard time. And like the interesting thing was because like she's never done any type of nicotine like whatsoever. So like she tried a 3 milligram one, right? And for people who don't know, like the nicotine pouches are not like dry. When you buy them, they're all like wet with the nicotine on them as well, and you put them on, it's a hit, right? She put the 3 milligram or 5 milligram as the lowest one, and she almost went down. And I'm like, really? Yeah, and she's and that's but I mean, like we're like working on me getting off of these, so we're rationing them out kind of a thing, but these are 14 milligrams, and I mean I could go through a can a day easy.
Well, send them to me and I'll just kind of hang on to them for you, Dave. And then when you're ready, I'll send them back.
No, no, I have to buy more to continue the rationing after I have a cigarette.
Well, anyway, so that's my cognitive dissonance with Zins with pain meds is that, yeah, they're great at the time, but even though the doctor tells you to take them, you're going to pay. So it's either endure pain or endure withdrawal, but one or the other is going to happen. And morphine, I think I saw Kim mention morphine. It is freaking. I saw more hallucinations while I was on morphine after this surgery. I kept seeing people around my house. Across the street were a bunch of construction workers all dancing, and I saw a guy looking in our windows through our surveillance cameras, and I keep telling my relationship at the time, what I see, and she looks out and she's like, there's no one there. And I'm like, how can there not be? I'm watching them. It's just the weirdest thing in the world. So I try to stay off of the pain meds as much as possible.
Wow.
Sounds like you have a bad reaction.
to morphine.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I could chew hydrocodone like it's gum, but I don't because then,
Yeah.
you get too addicted. So I just take, Excedrin or something like that.
Pro tip, real quick. Pro tip. If you're like having pain, if you take one ibuprofen with one Advil, it works really well together. Right. And you're still within the dosage. And the reason is because ibuprofen and like
Naproxen.
well, no, so yeah, but it's like ibuprofen and acetaminophen, they target different pain areas and they function different, but they complement each other. Right. Because I had all four wisdom teeth removed in one shot, and I refused. They want to get hydrocodone and codeine. And I'm like, dude, I used to be an addict. I'm not taking that. Give me something else. And so they gave me a prescription for like stronger ibuprofen that you can't buy in the store and stronger Advil, and they told me to take one at a time like that. And I did that. Felt amazing.
I don't think
without the crash.
Is that what you think? Advil is ibuprofen, so
no. What am I
thinking?
thinking?
Something else? Do you mean Tylenol or acetaminophen?
Tylenol. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, Tylenol. So you make it's one acetaminophen and one like whatever ibuprofen is technically called.
Yeah, that's what's in the Excedrin, except without the caffeine, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, medicine can certainly be a subject of cognitive dissonance, and it has been for me many times. Healthcare in general. My dad used to say that he had to have Dr. Pepper to keep his stomach from being upset. But Dr. Pepper was a no-no, of course, growing up in the church. But, he swayed with the medical side instead of the church side.
See,
I think that was just his excuse to drink Dr. Pepper.
There's that thing about caffeine.
Wait,
Vegan about caffeine. Vegan gently and quotable did a thing yesterday about Monster drinks coming to BYU.
Yeah.
They're sponsoring the Big 12.
So when I was growing up, I specifically remember them saying in priesthood meeting, no cola drinks.
Right.
My grandparents,
Yeah, but
my grandfather was a patriarch and a bishop. They drank Pepsi. We drank it sometimes. We had Coke in my house more than Pepsi. So it wasn't a thing at the beginning of the 60s. All of a sudden, in the middle of the 60s through the 70s, it became a thing, and more progressing too. And now they're reversing everything that I learned in my childhood. Growing up, they're changing everything. Every single thing they're changing. They changed the endowment.
Mm-hmm.
Changing church.
They got rid of the cool pantomimings.
That's right. Rather than do so, I would suffer my life to be taken. Yes. They're getting into that.
Celestial cosplay.
I really hope they don't get rid of the baker's hats. I really hope they keep those. And the pretty little baker's apron.
The apron. I still have my apron.
We're talking about the word caffeine and the word of wisdom. So I just want to share this. I think we saw it on Expositor, but let me play it for you here. This is so typical. There's a few LDS boys recording themselves, and they wanted to try an energy drink for the first time. So see what you think here.
Let's take a sip of an energy drink, guys.
Call my mom and see if it's okay.
I guess.
I just don't want to make her upset. Hello?
It's okay. Hello?
Hey.
Hey, hon.
How you doing?
Good. You?
Good. I just had a question. My friend gave me this Red Bull.
Red Bull Zero.
Red Bull Zero.
No sugar.
Can I drink it or no?
Brandon, that's garbage.
Oh, I'm not allowed to.
That's garbage.
Okay. I won't drink it then, I promise.
Just say no, Brandon.
Let's take a sip of.
She didn't say.
That's
Couldn't.
insane.
No.
That's insane.
Is that
That is-
real?
That's real.
Apparently,
It could be staged, but
I
it sounds
wanna
like
s-
something that would really happen.
Oh yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. It's like something that could happen, but that sounds staged.
Mom doesn't sound staged to me.
no, it
Their
sounds
whole-
realistic.
Well, the whole
Uh,
intro.
Moms can be cool.
Yeah, my mom was cool.
Yeah, moms can be cool, but I just wanted to emphasize what the church feels about energy drinks. If you go back, or if you even Google energy drinks, the LDS Church, you're going to find all these articles that it's bad, it's bad, it's bad. But then Brigham Young University gets $1 million from Monster, and suddenly they're wearing Monster patches
Well,
on their jerseys next year.
Not yet. It's not. They haven't signed the deal yet. I don't think. I think it's just
No,
a
not
proposal.
yet. Yeah. They haven't
Uh,
signed it. You're right.
They do have a Pop Tarts logo on their jersey, though. So Pop Tarts are okay.
Pop
Unless
Tarts
that-
are of the Lord.
Unless
They're-
that one I
they're
saw of a
against the word
Pop
of
Tart
it.
was a CGI. I don't know, but
It talks about Pop Tarts in the Word of Wisdom, but it does not talk about beer,
We should have Pop Tarts for sacrament.
right? Cut them up. Heck yeah.
What do you got?
I
What
would
kind? Chocolate fudge, I think,
You
would
guys-
be good. Or cookies and cream, because the crust is chocolate. I feel like if you get just a crust piece, you still got a good.
So
amount.
Pop-Tarts for the bread and Monster for the wine.
Right?
That's a way to start the week.
I
right,
know, right?
Yeah.
right.
Well, I mean,
No,
there's
no.
I think he's a Strangite Mormon, but John Hodgesek,
Yes.
actually he's been talking about that. Did you see his Facebook? He's like
did he
blasting
say?
caffeine. He's saying how caffeine is like a dangerous mind-altering drug, and people are debating it. And I'm just like, I mean, by definition, okay. Right. Yeah, it does alter your brain chemistry, just like eating food alters your brain chemistry.
Yes.
You know.
Here we are,
Wow.
Exmos, talking about drugs, and Karl Marx said that religion was the
Is the-
opiate of the masses.
But when you
Uh-huh.
guys were talking about sugar earlier, I remember when I was a kid and I used to eat sugar cubes and stuff like that. And right now, I abhor. I don't eat anything with sugar in it anymore. I try to use sugar as low as possible. I'll use honey before I'll use sugar.
That's right.
That's
Hallie
good
says
for-
beer is okay in the Doctrine and Covenants. Because that's
My-
It is.
My
Is Jack
dad
Daniels in the Doctrine and Covenants? It's
only if you
brown
make it
like beer.
only if it's from your own what brewery.
Nick.
Joseph Smith
It's-
was sure to exclude beer out of the Word of Wisdom by saying that barley drinks are okay.
That's right. I think you
Well,
want to
all
make
the
your
other
dad feel
alcohol-
okay.
I found a workaround, guys. I found a workaround.
Okay, what's the word?
And that is, you know how we're all allegedly one in Christ? Well, the brewery down the road is technically mine because we're all one in Christ. So yes, it does come from my own brewery.
Plus, I
Oh,
mean,
good
Okay.
for you.
the Jesus example, what did he do? He turned water into wine. But remember,
Yes.
only Joseph Smith can turn wine into water.
There's a good example, Jane, of cognitive dissonance is the frickin' sacrament.
Yeah.
What about those on the keto diet who know that that carbs are bad for them? They don't eat bread, but then you've got this kid passing it around to the congregation to take a piece of bread. There's a little cognitive dissonance right there.
A
I'm
lot.
glad you brought that up. For me, like when I joined the church, right, I was told that, you know, the sacrament's a very spiritual thing and that should be a time of like, you know, reverence and closeness with God and reflecting on what God did. And then I saw two 18-year-old nerds stumble through the prayer, having to repeat it more than once because they couldn't do it right, and then awkwardly like walk around with the bread. And for me, that was definitely psychological discomfort.
Yeah, it's like, is this special ed day at the church?
And it's Wonder Bread. It's not even like cool Catholic wafers. It's just like someone bought a bag of Wonder Bread and they're like peeling it into pieces.
Yeah, the deacons, or I mean the teachers who have been scratching their testicles all day, then take this bread, and when they squish it and break it up, it turns kind of gray. And it probably smells like teacher crotch. I'm not trying to be nasty. I'm just telling you, it is like what it is.
We used to wash our hands before we
You're
prepared.
supposed to. The teachers.
Come on. There was a place with a sink, and then you washed your hands before you did anything with it. That's what you always did.
We didn't get that memo, Tim.
I
I
feel like cognitive dissonance might also be something I've observed, and Brittany can correct me on this, but I feel like nursery for women, because, you know, we've all heard that women are told that being a wife and a mother is sacred and it's joyful and it's wonderful and you'll love having children. And then you get put in a nursery and the kids are screaming and half naked, and everyone, like the nursery workers, are like pulling their hair out because they don't have any support.
I tell you what, the first time they tried to call me to nursery, they didn't word it as like a call. It was more like, we're thinking of calling you to nursery. And I said, I don't think that's a good idea. I have really bad anxiety. Like, I didn't have really good mental health at the time. And also, we were trying for more babies and we couldn't get pregnant. I didn't want to be in nursery with everybody's babies. And they were like, well, why don't you just try it for a day and let us know what you think? And so to me, it was such a spiritual experience that they didn't actually offer the call, so I didn't have to decline a call. It was more like, oh, like God must be speaking to these men for making sure they approached me that way. And yeah, I did cry within like 2 minutes of entering nursery and left.
Yeah, at my ward, I heard cries and I couldn't tell if it was the babies or like the women working there.
It's both, because the children are on the tables. Why are there 3 children on the tables? Oh my gosh, it's insane. And then like one year, everybody has babies and they all turn 18 months at the same time. And so suddenly you have 30 babies in there and 2 workers, and like, no one's listening to you, that you need another person called, or nobody is taking up the calling. It's an insane experience, especially when you're supposed to be very grateful and thankful for it.
Where in the church do you have 30 babies in a nursery?
Mine.
Really? Where was this?
24.
I would say we definitely had 20 at least.
Wow.
That sounds like ours, but it's Provo. So
St. Charles, Missouri, we had a year where I swear to God, everyone but me got pregnant. And then I was like, what's in the water? Or what potluck? What potluck did I miss that everybody got pregnant? And then we also had people who would come in during the summer and do their summer sales or whatever, you know, and they would come in with their wives are already pregnant.
Marketing.
Brittany, I wish I would have known you then.
Funeral potatoes.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a lot of pregnant women, a lot of baby showers, and I was just sobbing. I think I ended up starting to skip showers for a while because it was too much for me, who my patriarchal blessing said I would have many children. I wanted every child I could possibly have, and I couldn't get pregnant. So I must be doing something wrong.
I wish I would have known.
Is like nursery, but fewer songs. Go ahead, Randy.
Brittany, I wish I would have known, because I would have been happy to send you one of my sweaters, because let me tell you, that's all it takes for a woman to get pregnant. If I hung my sweater next to my wife's, she'd end up pregnant. That's how fertile I seem to be. So the minute I had as many kids as I thought I wanted, well, I can't do that, but
Not at all.
I got neutered.
You took care of the problem, I see. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So Laura says people watch all of those kids for free. Not only that, you bring snacks. You pay for snacks and you bring
Yeah,
snacks.
Lori.
Not
Yeah,
only
Well,
that, sister
sometimes-
missionaries watch kids too. Like we had that at our
Really?
ward where like the sister missionaries would help out at the wards. The sister missionaries who paid money to go on a mission paid to watch other people's kids.
It's fun.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Hey,
women.
Britt,
Yeah.
I see that Katie Ash commented, and it was a story that I was thinking when I talked about special ed. Not to be calloused, but in one of my wards when I was young married, there was a kid up there who was psychologically impaired, or what is the word?
Neurodivergent.
Divergent. Thank you.
That's one
He
way to
was
put it.
autistic,
Okay.
and this poor kid, it took him 8 times
Wow.
before I can't remember if it was the bishop or one of his counselors finally went over and knelt with him and helped him through it. But holy smokes, you'd think that God would get it. You know,
No.
oh, they're blessing the sacrament. I get what they're doing. It's okay if he says a wrong word.
Somebody must have prayed for patience.
Must have, because I was so embarrassed just for that kid. I was just
Yeah.
so embarrassed for him.
I could never
But, yeah.
remember talking to the Lord after knocking 3 times what we're supposed to say. So I always had to have the helper help.
Was it
And-
health on the navel, marrow on the bones, strength on the loins, and in the sinew,
I could
power
get
in
it
the
close.
priesthood?
Be upon.
Be me and my posterity through all generations of time and throughout all eternity.
Oh,
Very
dang.
good.
Scared
Very
of you,
good.
Brittany.
Very good,
Scared.
Brittany.
Went to the temple a lot. And I've watched the video since then. So
Yes.
just for
I
the
just-
heck of it.
Well, the cool
Well,
thing
Tim-
is you don't have to do it. The helper will do it for you, it sounds like. So
Right.
Yes.
like,
The helper
why
does.
What were you going
bother?
to say? What were you going to say?
Tim sent Gene and I the actual transcripts for the temple ceremony. So, you know,
The most
I
recent
still
one.
wanna- yes.
The
The
most
I still wanna-
2019?
No.
Or is there a more
the
recent one than that?
2026.
I want to see that. Oh, I'm trying to make a puppet show.
Okay. Well,
We might do a show on it
I need your email
after Sunstone.
so I can send you a link. Well, yeah, we'll talk about it at Sunstone.
Well, I'm not in there, but
Celestial
my
puppet show?
email's brittytheapostate@gmail.com.
Oh yeah, next
Okay.
week, Tim, let's do Sunstone as our Tuesdays with Tim. We'll practice.
What? I need more definition.
So
You
we're going to
left
talk
Tim
about
speechless.
Sunstone,
Okay.
and we're going to do our presentation. We'll do
Okay.
some of the questions, and we'll talk about what we're doing. It'll be like a commercial for Sunstone.
Give people a preview. All
Give
right.
people a preview, and it'll be practice for us.
Okay. Good. I've got a cat that will not
So I had
settle down.
cognitive dissonance when almost all my blessings never worked.
Yeah.
But
See,
you know,
and I had some that worked.
I was good.
Uh-oh. Is that your dog, Randy?
Wow, that was a big dog.
Whose dog
Yeah,
was
does
that?
That dog would
sound
have
like
eaten
it came
Randy's
from a
dog.
Chihuahua?
You never know. You never
Gene,
know.
The blessings worked. They just didn't turn out the way that you wanted them to.
That's what
Isn't
they
that
say.
what the church would tell you?
It's all
You
what
have
God
to
wanted.
learn. You have to have the faith to not be healed. You need to listen a little more to David. I was going to say David Duchovny.
I thought you were going to say David Bowie, honestly.
Yeah, Bednar.
David Bednar.
David Bednar.
David Bednar, yeah. Said that you had to have the faith to not be healed.
Yes.
So
Actually,
it's
I
a
wish I was
50-50
still
chance.
wish I was still going to church when he said that, because it was like, now you're talking my language.
Right.
I have the faith to not believe my blessings are going to work on you.
Right. Right.
If Okay, first of all, that would be completely unnecessary what Bednar said. Because
right.
if indeed the priesthood was the power to act in God's name, why on earth? Why on earth would we need more than one blessing?
Right.
They come, they give the blessing, the sick person gets up and they're healed. God's not going to say, I'm going to put a block on this one. I just want you to stay humble. So I'm going to let this one die.
And that fits with the
cognitive
apostles
dissonance.
Can either speak as a prophet or a man. The prophet can either speak as a prophet or a man. Well, no, if you don't know, then what good is it?
Correct.
If you don't know what.
Speaking to Randy's point, something that just I saw on like Mormon discussions, and this is like so tragic and heartbreaking, right? Because we all heard in Mormonism, you wear your garments, you do the right things, and you have a nice, happy life with your family. The family of the only survivor, that girl, they got washed away in the flood. Like even in like Nigeria, where that major bus crash happened, and like what was it, like 38 people died, including the driver.
Yeah.
Not
that anyone talked about it.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly feel bad for her. That's got to be some major cognitive dissonance right there. I can't even like fathom.
I can't.
Yeah, I'm sure they had a prayer.
Oh, Emily's smart too.
Yeah. She's talked a lot about her stuff. I watched the recent documentary she did, and I think she was really well spoken in it. And she's, she talked, I think, a lot about the cognitive dissonance she had, experiencing the things she was experiencing, but having only the knowledge she had was like of the gospel and like the church's view of virginity and like, and then having this guy tell you that he's the prophet, like that's got to be so weird. So I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about something that's kind of on the same subject. I don't know if anyone saw this. I posted a video on my TikTok about it, but a man, a brother in some ward or stake, he posted some videos recently about how his local stake was recently decided to stop issuing sacrament in the foyer.
Yes, I saw that.
No one can do that anymore. I was like, okay, and people are confused, and like especially believers who know that that's not okay. Like, just ban.
We had one sister. We had one sister in our ward. She was a columnist. Her name was May Mann. She was a Hollywood columnist. She would always stand outside if you're looking at the
chapel
podium, well, no, looking forward, she would always be on the left side, the right side. Anyway, and whenever, because there was a cry room in the Westwood Chapel, there's a cry room on that side of, my left, chapel.
Yeah,
anyway,
I was going to say.
So you open the door, and she would be standing there, waiting for the sacrament. That's the only time I ever saw her at church. Was she would? It was so funny. And one time I asked her, I said, "You only come for the sacrament?" Well, she said, "That's the most important thing to me, that I get it every Sunday." Okay. Just, So, but she won't be able to get it. Well, she's gone now. But if you have somebody like that in your ward, how are they going to get it?
Yeah.
Right?
Well, Megan Connor and I, Tim, came up with a great idea for drive-through sacrament.
Yes.
Where,
I remember that.
Skip all the talks. Drive through, they have little wafers they can give you, a little cup of water, and you can turn your radio on and it'll say the sacrament prayer.
Very hygienic too.
Just DoorDash Wonder Bread to your own house and do it yourself. That's what they did in COVID. That's what they did in COVID.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Well, I wouldn't use bread. If I was at home, you can bet your butt I'd use either Pop-Tarts like we talked about, Danish, even Captain Crunch. I'd make little Captain Crunch wafers.
Oh
Well,
yeah,
even the thing with the right hand for the sacrament.
right.
I mean, that didn't
That has
exist
its
when I was
roots
growing
in
up.
Solomonic magic. So I liked to everybody to thank Kinder Kim because this show is sponsored by Kinder Kim. So I turned off
She
the
hasn't
ad.
just. Did you? Okay, good. I was gonna say, yeah.
And here's another thing. Jason Mann said, "Oh boy, the first time he saw hats in the temple, he thought it was a baker's convention. Nothing says lovin' like something from the oven." He had to hold his chuckles.
That's
a good one.
They're
hilarious.
really bad hats. Probably the worst. And why? What was the purpose of those hats?
Why
Yeah, what was that
you
all
had to
about?
trauma bond. You had to do something ridiculous.
Because
friends
don't
and
you know
family.
that the folds on the hat represent God, the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost,
Oh, they
right?
made that up.
and the string that comes down that ties to your sash, your robe,
Mm-hmm.
would be communications from God to you, right? The
Mhm.
folds mean something, and these folds meant something. They all meant something, but nobody ever told you that. You had to
No.
hear it from somebody else who knew.
You can't be a cult without silly hats.
That's right.
It's a good sign.
Yeah,
Good
true.
starting place.
Look at the Pope.
Yes.
Now, to
Yeah.
be fair, Pope, it is a silly hat. I mean, but also like the Cardinals and the Pope's hat, they're at least cool. Like,
And-
if you're gonna get a silly hat, like go hard, and like the big like medieval collars that like go past your shoulders. Like,
The Jewish yarmulke is kind of a very
It's a good
subtle
one. Yeah,
baker's
it's a
hat.
nondescript.
It's
I like that one.
It's sort of like their unleavened bread. It's an unleavened baker's hat.
Oh, see, if I wore a yarmulke, Gene, I'd put the little propeller on the top.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Beanie
Yeah, and that
and Cecil.
Beanie
it
and
would look
Cecil.
so purposeful. Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I actually knew about the temple rituals and saw the videos on that before I joined the church. The outfits didn't actually bother me. And I remember joking with another convert because we were gamers, right? So for those of you who don't know, there's like a video game series called The Elder Scrolls Morrowind. Think Lord of the Rings on like a different planet, right?
Mhm.
Brittany, you know what
Yep.
I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It reminded me of the Imperial cult from that game. You remember that?
I don't.
Okay, well, never mind. You guys could Google Imperial Cult Morrowind and like the robes and everything. It's whatever. I just thought it was funny, and we were like, maybe this is a cult, but at least whatever. Like, we're getting stuff from it. We didn't know how bad it actually was. We just like, oh, okay, so we get a nice community, and then every so often we wear silly clothes and cosplay.
Yeah.
There's a form of police in Spain called La Guardia Nacional, La Guardia Civil, and they wear these triangle hats. They're
Right.
black, shiny patent leather, and they're
Right.
triangular like pirate hats. But you don't want to make any fun of those guys because they carry machine guns and they don't screw around. You smart off one of those guys, you're going to get beat up at least, if not shot.
I mean, those sound
So,
like really good hats. Like, really, I like those guys, and I think their hats are really awesome. And
Well,
we should just acknowledge how amazing their hats are.
It represents they can be backed up against a wall, the flat side of their hat,
Mhm.
and still be fighting. That it won't stop them to be backed up against a wall.
Well, who is
Why
this
not
again?
just throw the hat off?
The Guardia Civil in Spain. It's the civil guards. Well, it's not the regular police. There's two forms of police: la policía, which is the police, and then la Guardia Civil, which are these badass looking. Maybe we could get Jane to
Find
Google
a picture.
that and show you an image.
Okay, Gene, there's your assignment.
Okay.
I brought one home from my mission. It wasn't the real deal. It was one that I bought in a store, but they're so cool.
You weren't able to steal a real one?
Well, you know what? The branch president of the Móstoles branch near Madrid, he was a guardia civil. That's what he did for a
Wow.
living.
Wow.
But he never talked about work. No, we had a mysterious phone caller that was calling our mission pad and doing all these weird voices and saying that she or he was going to commit Harry. And we couldn't figure out who was making all these calls, and they were coming all times of the night. And we told the branch president, about it, and it was shut down like that.
Boy.
He somehow knew how to figure out who was calling us and get to them, and we never received another call. It was kind of like having James Bond as your branch president.
I wonder what happened. I'm curious because that's kind of like what happened here in St. Charles. The missionaries got like 37 calls overnight from somebody threatening them.
Oh, there was a story about that somewhere.
Yeah, I've been following it and going to their court hearings and stuff too.
Oh.
Yeah, so far, like, no news. He's just in jail.
Maybe the branch president went to the guy's house and just unalived him himself, just like Porter Rockwell would, who just showed up, boom. And
He could have.
Like,
if you're caught taking a picture of one of these guys, because they're on horses, they're all on horses. Oh, I mean, they have them on feet too, but they will march up to you, grab your camera, open it up, rip the film out, and drop your camera on the street.
What?
That's what happens if you're caught taking a picture of one of them.
What?
It's illegal. It's illegal to photograph them.
Okay.
So the photographs I see.
Why don't they just not wear their hats? That way we don't know who they are.
Because then it's not as cool.
No, it's intimidating to people to see these guys. I mean, they're.
It's only
every time we walk by them,
does that.
They'd train their, machine guns on us just to screw with our heads. They do that. They are badass, like whatever you want to call them. You don't mess with the Guardia Civil. Did you get a picture of their hat, Jing?
So
yes, you did.
I tried.
I have no idea.
I'm not laughing at the hat. Just to be clear.
I can't even. You can't even see that.
Flat.
What is happening? What's
So
on the
I'm
top
having
of
a
it?
hard time finding a good picture that'll work. So maybe you can go.
Probably because nobody takes their pictures.
Well, yeah, they're not supposed to have their picture taken, but you're not supposed to record in the temple either. Okay, Gene, let me find a picture of one. But while we're talking, talk amongst yourselves. I'll find.
Talk amongst yourselves.
They sound like the Philippine police in some respects.
Are they that way too?
What?
Did you see that, Randy?
Oh, yeah, there you go. That's a great picture right there.
Oh, I've seen that hat before.
Yeah. See, they're round in front, but they well, you can see you can't really see, but it's flat in the back.
Yeah.
I think they just don't want their picture taken because that's a stupid hat.
It must have some significance. So you told you.
That's it.
It looks like if you turn it upside down, it's something that old people pee in. You know what I mean? The thing that sits like a bidet. Like
Brittany or Britty. I don't want to say Britty. Britty, if you go to Spain, don't mention that to him.
I'm not going to go.
There were a bunch of mouse ears that were defective, and so they sent them to Spain. And Spain took them.
It's just all right.
Yeah.
So those guys are very dangerous.
Yes,
This is
fear them.
Cognitive dissonance right now. We have landed on the moon. We are talking internationally on technology that human hands have created, and yet human beings all around the world enjoy wearing things on their head.
Hmm?
Yep.
Like wearing
Wait.
silly hats.
I mean, what is it? The in London, the guard.
Oh, the
Those
royal,
some
the
silly
royal
hats.
I
guard.
wear the big
Buckingham
the-
Palace
furry
Guard.
hats.
Yeah. There's the palace guard.
The palace
The
guard,
beef
right?
eaters.
The royal
Yeah,
guard.
Yeah.
the beef eaters. I want to see a chicken eater hat.
That's kind of funny. I don't even know why, but that was funny. A chicken eater hat.
Yeah. For people that
We'll
don't like
find-
red meat.
Well, see, now there's cognitive dissonance too. The whole red meat debacle.
Yeah.
There you go.
The church says don't eat a lot
Okay,
of it, and
Kim.
then you've got these carnivore dieters that eat a lot of it, and they're healthier than any church member.
Oh.
So what the heck?
My boyfriend went doing he did the carnivore. Well, he did his version of the carnivore diet for a little while. It was interesting. He ate a lot
there
of
you
he
go.
ate a lot of
The
meat.
word of wisdom: eat meat sparingly.
Yeah, no more. What Mormon do you know does that?
What Mormon do you know does that? Exactly.
No, they're meat eaters, chicken eaters too,
Yeah.
and fish eaters. And they eat yak too. Diamond, you said you've never eaten yak?
I don't believe I have. I've had an assortment of meats here. I do not recall them being yak. May have been. Especially during Nodum. Well, yeah, so like here's the thing. Nodum is just a national holiday that's like a week long. Everyone takes off of work, everyone goes in the countryside. There's a lot of alcohol and a lot of food on tables, and we actually I posted pictures on my Facebook, but we stayed at like it's like a little resort thing where you could actually stay in a ger, in a Mongolian yurt, right? And so like, and then you pile into this, like eating area. It's this long table and it's just piled of like meat and potatoes and all kinds of stuff, and the meat's mixed up. So there's like everything from sheep, horse, and different kinds of meats too. So there was like mutton, sheep liver, horse meat. There was erig, which is horse milk that's fermented. There was beef. There was chicken. There was fish. There was a lot of
This
alcohol.
is all mixed together?
Yeah, it's just on one table. You go through and pick out what you want. So it's like in its own section, but there's just
gotcha.
Yeah, so it's like they're in their own section, but I mean, you're drinking beer with family all day, and then you go and see a bunch of food. I have no idea what I ate. Honestly, not all of it.
That's weird because I was just craving a big, tall glass of fermented horse milk.
It's actually really good.
Well, that sounds like enough to gag a maggot. I'm just saying. For horse
So does
milk.
caviar, salty fish eggs, yummy.
Horse milk actually isn't all that different than cow milk.
So here's another cognitive dissonance thing. Section 132, how you do polygamy.
That Joseph Smith never
Joseph
followed.
Smith's observed polygamy.
Never followed it.
Never followed it.
Never followed it. That's weird that he didn't decide to follow that.
Yeah.
Maybe
He
he
was
didn't
the-
write that. I don't know what those polygamy deniers say. Do they think that he didn't write that? I guess.
Well, because it's
Yeah,
in,
they
there's a
think he didn't write it.
Kingsbury copy. There's
Yeah.
2 copies, I think, in different hands, and supposedly Joseph burned it at one point. It was burnt. A copy was burned.
Was
I
that the
can't
copy
remember.
that the 2 little girls rescued parts of it from the fire?
No, that's the Doctrine and Covenants. That's the Book of
Oh,
Commandments.
okay. That's all my.
Down in
I know my
Missouri.
Mormon stories better
There-
than the real stuff.
It's okay. There's a story that a copy got burned, whether it was which copy we don't know, but there are a couple of copies. Oh, somebody Google
because
it.
she didn't like it.
Cognitive dissonance. I forget who this elder was, but he gave a conference talk talking about how man would never walk on the moon. And then like 2
Joseph
weeks
Fielding Smith. Joseph
yeah,
F.
and
Smith.
then 2 weeks later, astronauts walked on the moon and gave him a plaque for
Walking
was
on
it a
the
plaque?
moon.
I don't know.
They gave
Maybe
him-
he was right. Maybe they never
Man was
did.
not meant. Man was not meant to leave the earth and travel in space, he said.
Well, how did the Quakers get there?
They were born there. Come on. They didn't come from Earth.
Smart men.
You mean
They
they
were
didn't-
they were 7 feet tall.
You mean they didn't make a wooden boat submarine thing with 2 holes so they could breathe and just kind of scoot through space to get to the moon?
So they could breathe.
Well, that wouldn't surprise me. That's probably in a different book, in one of the other worlds, because you know that there's an endless number of worlds, Dave.
Yeah.
Then here's another one. The 2015 LGBTQ plus exclusion policy declared to be direct revelation from God, only to be completely reversed. How many years? 3.2 years later.
Yeah, 2015 to 2019.
So God changed his mind?
Because I was right. Because I'm a prophet.
God didn't like the hate comments he was getting on Earth, and so he backtracked.
Nelson said they wrestled with it.
Huh. You know, that's something right there too, as far as cognitive dissonance goes, is to try to understand how one being, albeit a deity, can hear the prayers of everyone on not only this earth, but the endless number of worlds he has, worlds without end, as the grains of sand on the beach.
Mm-hmm.
How does he hear all those freaking prayers?
Oh,
I can
ye
answer
of little
that.
faith.
Well, I can.
You
answer
saw the
that.
movie, didn't you, Diamond Dave?
That's what I was gonna say.
I actually no. I'm gonna say he didn't. He doesn't, because I'm gonna make a Star Trek reference. Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Captain Sisko, basically gets electrocuted, and he has this vision, or this, like, whatever you want to call it, but he could see how all the planets in the known galaxy intertwined, past, present, future, just like the aliens in the wormhole, right? Like his brain,
Right.
his awareness went outside of that. And he talks about how he could see the threads of the planets together. He couldn't see anything smaller than that, like people, like individual people, because it's just so like one big thing. So I would argue that a deity, sure, a deity could have created the universe, but because the deity is outside of space and time and communication is finite, they won't hear it.
Well, thank you for coming to the deep end of the pool with me, Diamond Dave, because that goes deep, deep.
But in the movie, he answered all the prayers at once. Remember, with the computer?
Yeah,
And
but that
Evan
was just
Almighty?
from this earth. That was just from this earth.
That's true.
We didn't include all the millions of worlds
All the
without end that he
billions.
has.
The angels have their
Trillion.
computers too. They're angels and
With
interns.
computers.
The seraphim
Well-
and the cherubs and all the angel classes are just.
He's
different
got a lot of
departments.
wives,
Yeah,
a lot of
Yeah.
secretaries.
yeah.
He may be
An awful lot
assigning
of
them.
secretaries.
But do you think he has as many wives as he does worlds?
That makes sense. I mean, all the kids on each world could be hers.
That's a lot of pregnancy. She spends a lot of time pregnant, if that's
She's
the case.
eternally
Magic
pregnant.
pregnancy. It's magic. It's fine.
Are you saying that each one of those pregnancies is divine intervention type kind of pregnancy, immaculate conception?
Endless celestial sex.
Because the prophet has taught us that they have sex.
Real
and
sex.
that's how they create spirit babies.
Pretend birth. Maybe.
I don't
Birth
even know
doesn't
how
hurt.
you,
The birth doesn't hurt though. We know That's what I decided in heaven. That's what it must be.
Well, they just must plop out of her like nonstop. Just she hovers over that portal earth and just starts
She's
dripping
just
babies
laying there wide
all over the
open.
world.
They're
No,
just zooming
it's
out
like
of her.
it's
Just
But, I
flying
mean,
out.
but she's still like this. This is like I feel like we're getting into quantum mechanics here, because in order for her to do that, she would have to simultaneously be pregnant. So she's simultaneously pregnant while simultaneously giving birth.
While having
Right.
sex.
She never stops having sex. See?
While not
Just think of all the
still-
cigarettes God has to smoke at the end of each one.
And oysters he must eat. And that's another cognitive dissonance thing, is that they describe a life where we have blood, where we have taste, where we have, we're going to be resurrected perfect beings with skin and bones. Now, I know supposedly we won't have blood, but why do we have skin and bones? If we're spirits, why is the resurrection necessary? Because the minute you get skin and bones, you're going to drop out of the heavens and come flying back down to earth and splat. Because you can't defy gravity like that.
Randy,
We
you're being
float
too
down
literal.
gently.
We're on a different planet, right? I don't know.
Yeah, it depends on what
Well,
planet
yeah.
you're on.
You get
Because,
a
I mean,
planet.
it's-
The
If
planet
you're a
you're full of
man-
has reverse gravity, Randy.
Yeah, I
Excuse
mean, if you're
me.
a man, you could pick your own planet.
I'm sorry. I
The
picked
The
on
planet
that
I'm going to be on is this planet right here,
Oh,
which
yeah,
is
you're right.
getting turned into the telestial
Paradise.
kingdom.
Celestialized
Celestial.
glory.
Aim bigger. Outer darkness. All the way.
Paradisical
Yeah.
glory.
I want to get my own planet and declare war on Jacob Hansen's planet. And just watch. I'm going to do what God did with Job in, God did with Satan in the book of Job, right? I'm literally going to cut a deal with Jacob Hansen and just be like, all right, here's what we're going to do. Your planet can fight my planet, and we just watch. And watch as they, kill themselves and kill each other and make little ships and declare war on other people.
Little ships.
Oh.
Well, I think that's a good idea. I've always held the opinion that we've each, in the pre-existence, we all got to create one animal. And I'm sorry, but I lay claim to the Black Panther. Y'all can have whatever animal you think you created. I created the Black Panther.
Which moron created the blobfish?
Right? Someone who was...
Who did
Randy,
that?
your idea gives me an idea for
Jacob
Tuesdays
Hansen.
with Tim. We'll do a show where what we would do when we create our own planet.
Yeah, create our own worlds. What would it be like?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. And that'll be a good thumbnail to work on. That'll be fun.
Yeah. So another cognitive dissonance is where when you learn, you're taught that the church has an unpaid lay clergy, and then you finally hear that the top guys make bank, right? But
Right.
the cognitive dissonance person says, yeah, but they would make way more money than that if they were a CEO of McDonald's or some other corporation that's just like the church. So the church is actually underpaying the Q15, and that's their sacrifice. They would make more money in the private sector. So that's the cognitive dissonance, how you play with that.
Gotcha. Tim, can you put your hand up and click the button just under me to take me off camera for a sec? There's a button just at the bottom of my cubicle here. If you put your hand up, Tim, your right hand. If you just put, nope, other hand. There you go. Just lift it up further. Nope, other hand. Other hand. No, other hand. There you go.
Way
Lift it
high,
up
way
further.
high.
High, high.
Arms square.
You got it. Thank you.
Turn them off. So I'll read this one. A major source of cognitive dissonance arises when members who sacrifice essential household funds for tithing under the banner of uncompromised financial honesty discover that the church leaders spent decades using dummy shell companies to hide multi-billion-dollar investment fund money.
They didn't do that.
People aren't perfect, obviously.
That's the cognitive dissonance part.
The Lord wanted them to.
Lying for the Lord is perfectly fine.
Of course.
That's right.
I think it would be good to do Tuesdays with Tim sometime on when is it okay to lie? Because we all know that there are times where it's not only okay, but highly suggested.
Like, Randy, you look great in your glasses tonight.
Well, that hurts my feelings, Jane.
You assume he was lying.
How about the clear look?
I don't know.
The clear look.
I think the blue looks better on camera.
Well, thank you. I try to wear, a variety of different colors.
Capo's here.
What?
Hey,
Who?
it's capo.
Capo?
Who's
Capo,
Capo?
as in, it's what you put on a guitar to change the key of a song. Thank you, Kinder. Yeah. Wow. Well, I'll tell you what, time flies when you're having fun, because it doesn't seem like we've been going for an hour and a half. Over
Like
an
I
hour
said, it
and a
doesn't
half.
seem like we've been having fun.
Ha!
No, I'm having a good time. I'm surprised they didn't try to end the show after an hour.
The Lord does not need your money.
Okay, Bednar.
He just
I remember
wants your money.
How about, we haven't heard this one for a while.
If a destitute family is faced with the decision of paying their tithing or eating, they should pay their tithing.
I'll never forget the talk about this guy. This is in the 90s. He was in Yugoslavia and he worked, but he didn't get paid. He was waiting for the day that he would get paid so he could pay his tithing. I thought how stupid that person was. Time. Great. Waiting for the day when I can pay my tithing. It's a story in General Conference.
Oh, brother.
Well, we were always full tithe payers on everything. Gift cards, whatever.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. My mom's not Mormon. She would try to find ways of giving certain gift cards to me that I wouldn't pay tithing on, or like
Really?
yeah, any increase. Yeah, so there were times we were shaking our couch out for money and we were still paying tithing first. That was our first
Of course.
paycheck.
Yeah. Pay the Lord before you eat.
We took the financial program or whatever to try to get some help or whatever, and that's the number one first thing on your budget, tithing.
Right. Hey, Kendall, welcome. Glad to see
Hello.
you. Do you have
Can you hear me?
Do you have any
Kendall?
do you
Yes,
have any
Kendall.
announcements for us?
Yes, I'm engaged.
Congratulations.
That's awesome.
Yes, and she,
Congratulations.
unlike all my previous girlfriends, has fully left the church. She does not pay tithing this fun.
That's good.
But she still has
Super.
a
Nice.
membership.
Well, I haven't renounced my membership. I'll still be
Yeah, me
connected to the church probably for the rest of my life. I want to make it better, but I'm not believing.
Police.
The cops heard
Uh-oh.
Tim was doing a show.
Pull
Another
over.
passing.
But yeah, guys, I just came from a meetup from the podcast At Last She Said It. And oh my gosh, you so great. They talked all about, I believe today's theme is Mormons with a split mind. That's all we talked about for 2.5.
Really?
There were so many examples of like people that don't feel good in the church, but they still attend, or they can't tell their spouses or whatever. Like, oh my gosh, it was full of it.
That's exactly what the show's about tonight.
Something in the air.
Cognitive dissonance.
Now, it's been a week, so I'm a prophet. It was my idea a week ago.
Yeah, that's all that we talked about. And like one person in my table, we had a lot of discussions on our table, talked about like why we don't like be our authentic selves around people, like why we have to still kind of pretend a lot of church things. And like you know all the answers of like, oh, they can't handle it, they treat you as a other, they treat you as like an enemy, or you have a virus. Like we know all that, but one person said something that was just totally different that I gotta share. They said if they knew my true self, they wouldn't treat me like a person, they would treat me like a doll that used to be in the spot that the doll occupies in the family. Like they would just, you know that how Mormons are like superficial nice?
Yes.
Yeah.
It would transform me from a person with like emotions and feelings and ideas that they care to know into like just a placeholder of someone else that I forget how they said it, but you kind of get what I'm saying of like, you're not a real person, you're a doll.
You're saying that you become a pariah in your own family.
Yeah, but it's not like some of them. I mean, some do overtly like disown you and antagonize you, but a lot of families, they kind of just like treat you like you're there. You don't count, but like you're still there. And they say superficial things. Oh my gosh, this was such a good part of the conversation of like, you know, they're still nice to you and they give you compliments, but the compliments change such that like one of the things that my family says to me is like, oh, Kendall, you're smart. But like they never give any examples or like, you know, say what it was that was smart. They just kind of are superficial in general and never care to go into any depth because, you know, now I'm other and it's not safe.
Kendall has reached the other.
Kendall, the proof is in the pudding. That's all I got to say. You're a good man. They'll see your example and, you know, they can't dislike you for your personal revelation that you're having yourself. You know, people.
Well, that's what my
people are
first
really-
therapist said. They said, you know, distance yourself. If they're mistreating you, like the ones that love you will come and find you. But I have separated myself and no one has come looking for me.
That's right. They won't, because they don't want to know what you know.
That's why
No,
call it
they
the
have
ward
no
family, 'cause the ward does
interest.
the same thing as a family does if you leave the church.
Yeah.
You know, I've
Totally.
learned, Kendall, you can
That's what-
only tell
forever.
someone anything about the Exmo community if they ask. Otherwise, you're shoveling shit against the tide.
Trevor
It's
has an
coming right
example,
back at you.
Kendall. He says what they're not saying is that you're smart. You're smart enough to leave the church. They don't say that part.
No, honestly, most of the time when it happens, what they're saying is, I don't care to hear and understand what you said, but it sounded smart to me, even though I didn't understand it. That's what I really think they're saying.
Yeah.
But that's the part that hurts is they don't really care to sit there and listen and ask me a follow-up question or like, you know, what am I learning about if it has anything to do with other than church-approved things that we think and are allowed to go into, you know, like
Kendall, if
How
you
to Win
wanted to be
Friends and
smart,
Influence People is like an approved book. We can talk about that. But like anything that goes to the edges of Mormonism that isn't church approved, you can't talk about it.
they're saying if I wanted to be smart, I wouldn't be Mormon.
You know, Kendall, I got to tell you, I was distracted for a sec. I'll think of it in a minute. But It was
Trevor
good. You got to
says-
trust me. It was good.
Trevor said he
Oh, I
had a
believe
return
you.
missionary try to reactivate him.
But yeah, I don't know if we can change the subject, but I need your guys' help. In a week, I'm going to be on Colby's podcast debating if Joseph Smith was a pious fraud.
Are you
Wow.
taking that position?
Colby is taking the position that he was a pious fraud. I'm taking the position that he was just a fraud.
Just an outright fraud.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
So you know what
So
they
yeah,
say about
what do you guys like imagine when you hear the word pious? Like, doesn't a pious fraud make it sound softer and he was a better dude than he was? I don't know. Maybe I'm
Not
wrong.
necessarily.
Oh.
So for me, I've debated this actually. We all know Joseph Smith was a fraud, but because he's a human being, I personally believe that he had religious beliefs and spiritual beliefs, and like many human beings across the world, he likely had some spiritual experiences which would fall under the term pious. Now, the fraud part comes in where he tries to weaponize and monetize those beliefs. But I do believe that there's like something there. There usually is, to varying degrees.
Okay,
when
yeah,
it comes
if
to
you
fraud
define
stuff.
it that way, I think I would lose the debate because you're kind of using it as whatever bad he did, it is related to religion, it was motivated by religion, but that's not what I'm going to argue. I'm going to argue no, pious has a certain standard. Pious is someone who is self-sacrificing, who is humble, who cares about others and would never, ever do something at the expense or harm of another person. And I just see way too many examples where Joseph Smith, the type of frauds that he did, would harm people and he didn't feel bad. There was no remorse. And he perpetuated it without the guilt that a pious person would feel.
Here's who
Sounds
else,
like
Kendall.
this is going to be a semantic debate then, because your definition, as well as what I've demonstrated, both are valid contexts for the word pious. Both of them apply.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah, that's
think, so
This could be
you
interesting.
think that Joseph Smith showed a deep reverence and respect for God or religion, and earnestly fulfilled his religious obligations. Is that what you're saying?
Diamond.
No, so there's multiple contexts. And
This is their
context-
definition of pious: having or showing a deep reverent respect for God or religion and earnestly fulfilling religious obligations.
Yeah, that's the top definition. That's why I don't like the term, because yeah, you can say, oh, a pious person can be corrupt or whatever, but that's not the first definition. That's not what you first think when you hear the term.
Right, and so
Right.
here's
What
what
do
I
you
would
think?
say.
Wait, what do you
Almost-
think when you hear the term?
What I think is someone like exactly what the definition says. They
You're breaking
Mr.
up.
Roboto. So when Kendall comes back out of the off the mountain that he's driving on,
Abyss.
I mean, when you look at the definition, like, there's other definitions, but he still has to technically believe in what he's proclaiming. In my opinion, like, maybe there is a difference. You're pious if you actually believe it.
Was
I think
David Koresh a pious fraud?
yeah, and think
Was
about
Jim
it. How
Jones a
many
pious fraud?
times have you heard the news whenever they're interviewing the neighbor of somebody that's committed a heinous crime or some other thing, and the neighbor says they were such a nice person?
well, my
well, they
ex-husband
must
was
be-
a really nice person.
You can use
I
that,
mean,
Kendall,
Jim
to
Jones
say-
legitimately believed it. He
Shouldn't
went
matter.
insane because of it. He was like so wrapped up in his own hubris and his own belief that, like, he was who he believed to be.
Yeah.
He just went insane.
Maybe he was pious, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I get the impression Joseph Smith was a fraud all through and through, but you never know. Maybe I think he kind of caught on to it at some point. Maybe he felt something and thought it was God, but I think he knew what he was doing was wrong. I think he knew he was tricking people, especially when he was
and that's
taking all their money.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to argue.
Yeah.
Is Yeah, I think you can find examples where some of his perpetuated frauds absolutely had at least some element of good intentions. Sure, I concede that point. But there are way too many examples where he did things that harm people and he didn't care. And like, I'm sorry, you just can't be pious when you're willing to cross that line. Like who would feel safe giving their daughter into Joseph Smith's household? A pious man, you would feel safe doing that. But Joseph Smith, you would not.
Pious
Robert.
So
predator.
you're on the team, Kendall, that is he was not pious,
Right.
right? Yeah.
Correct.
I think
That
Tim
is my
thought
position,
you were
yeah.
going for pious, but you're going for not pious, which I totally concur.
Yeah, Kendall, I would get a whole bunch of pious things.
No,
like
I will
pious
argue
predator.
against Colby that he was just a fraud, and if you add pious fraud, you're kind of putting on kid gloves and being like, oh, Joseph Smith wasn't that bad, and he sincerely believed all that he did, and like he was,
Well, I mean, you could also
a sympathetic
you could also
character.
make the claim. You could also make the claim it actually makes it worse.
Okay, so
Well, he was
KD,
a
or let me
comic.
see. Hallie is asking, why does it matter how we define the man? Good question,
Because Colby has to have a show.
Hallie.
Yeah.
I understand that, but why does it matter?
Because
Well,
YouTube
I
has
think
to
what
sell
I would
ads.
say to that is I resent that we are downplaying his heinous acts and his unethical
Exactly.
behavior by saying like, oh, he wasn't a fraud, he was a pious fraud, and that's somehow better. And I'm open to hearing Diamond Dave's example of making it worse, but I'm very skeptical because the first impulse you have is what is worse, a fraud? That man is a fraud. That man is a pious fraud. I mean, one is softer and more allowing and apologetic than the other. That's my position.
I think I'd
Yeah,
make a good
my
pious.
position. My
I
position
think
is
a
it
good
makes
pious
it.
murderer.
Well, I mean,
Kendall.
my position is that it would make it worse because if you think about the Catholic Church and the Catholics who, in my opinion, deserve to die and they're in retaliation for their crimes, right? Because we could point at someone in a bank and say that man is a fraud. Yeah, he ripped people off of money. Everyone rips people off of money, right? It's a common thing. But a pious fraud is someone who weaponizes religion and power and bastardizes an entire culture in the process of fake piety, right?
Well,
Okay, but there you gave away everything. You gave away everything by saying fake piety. If he
Fake.
said Joseph Smith was a fraud that used piety as part of the fraud, I would have no problem with that. He was a fake pious fraud, no problem with that. But if you call someone pious, you have to go by Tim's first definition, and Joseph Smith does not match that definition.
Not
I
at
mean,
all.
if you want to
was
go with
an
that
actor.
specific definition, sure. But as like Brittany and I have said, there are other definitions in common vernacular, and this is why I think it may turn into a semantic debate because it's which context and which definition are you going to pick, right? If you pick yours, you have a point. If you pick mine, you have a point. If you pick someone else's, as long as it's grammatically correct and historically accurate, you have a point.
Maybe
Right,
you have to
but I
change
just
what the
resent-
definition. Maybe you have to define pious before you start the argument.
Yes.
Yeah, I've
exactly.
suggested that, but
Define your
then
terms.
yeah. But then
Which is what-
it seems like it would go away because if you do define it the way Dave does, I wouldn't have much to argue. I would be like, no, there's a good amount of evidence that at times, not all the time, but that he probably acted out of some good motivation and sincerity. Like I don't think I can disprove that. But if you look at the whole of his life and you're asking the question, what is the best descriptor of Joseph Smith? And your only two options is he was a fraud or he was a pious fraud. I'm sorry, but
He was a
he
fraud.
is a fraud, full stop. If you call him a pious fraud, you are downplaying for most people. For most people, if you use the hierarchy of definitions, you are softening the blow and making him more sympathetic than he deserves.
So, this is, I do agree pious should be defined. I honestly think the debate needs to be reframed. because something that just occurred to me too is like, what kind of fraud did Joseph Smith engage in? Well, he defrauded money. That's called financial fraud. He defrauded people in real estate. That's called real estate fraud. And then a term you could use, although it's not as common, for defrauding, using religion to defraud people, is a pious fraud, right? So it sounds like, if you look at it from that lens, is okay, what kind of fraud did Joseph Smith commit? Did he commit fraud of religion, or did he just commit fraud?
Well,
yeah, I also would concede if we change it to Joseph Smith perpetuated pious fraud, I also would have much less of an issue with that. But was Joseph Smith a pious man? If you type into ChatGPT right now, what are examples from history and literature of pious individuals, you'll get a list. Joseph Smith does not belong in that list.
Well, you will
Kendall,
get Mother
I
Teresa.
would ask
Mother
Colby
Teresa
to-
did kill people.
Hang on
so
just a
there's
second.
that.
Yes, she did.
Kendall, I would ask Colby, how pious was Joseph as he was negotiating with farmers to find the treasure buried on their lots and their property and collecting the money? How pious was he when he told them that the angels pushed it down deeper so as to not appear evil?
Yeah, that's
How
one
pious
of
was
my
that?
points. Yeah, I completely agree. Like, he clearly was just frauding people. That's the best explanation.
Yeah, come up
He
with a bunch
wasn't
of other
this-
things, like a pious philanderer or a pious murderer or a pious, and do a list of things that are horrible and say, how does that make it any better?
You just
Yeah.
described the Catholic Church.
Yeah, what's that new Netflix documentary? The fundamentalist Mormon Samuel Bankman or something?
Yeah, Samuel Bateman.
Samuel Bateman, yeah. So he was a pious fraud?
Right. Tim is a pious podcaster.
Really?
But I always looked at pious as being a negative comment as I was growing up.
Yes,
When-
exactly.
When someone would say, oh, he's this pious, arrogant, it just kind of fit in with the had negative context to it. Do you agree, Tim?
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, in my dictionary, that's definition 3 or 4 typically.
Gotcha.
So that absolutely is valid, but I just resent it of like, think of it from this angle. This is kind of my main thing. Is like, all of us in the ex-Mormon and Mormon sphere, like, you kind of know Joseph Smith, but if you have no context and someone is called a pious fraud, I think that does have a softening effect versus like he was a fraud. And so for never Mormons, if that's their first exposure to a descriptor of Joseph Smith, I don't think that is fair when you look at the whole course of his life, especially at the end of his life, when his frauds were, so sexual and selfish in nature. That wasn't piety. That was pure self-interest.
He wanted to be everything. He wanted to be the mayor, the president of the church. He wanted to control Nauvoo. So he was being a narcissistic megalomaniac, basically.
He was
and a pious person would be like, oh, I'm reluctant to get power. Like, that's piety.
Right. He sought power.
Unless he's like Jim Jones, or who was the guy of the Heaven's Gate that was called a pious asshole? I forget the name, but
Heaven's Gate, that was Doe.
okay, yeah.
Applewhite.
I think people said that about David
what's his name?
Koresh too.
Koresh.
James? Was it James Applewhite?
Yeah, I think that was James Applewhite. I think that.
Well, yeah, talking with Diamond Dave gives me an idea. This is going to be my debate tactic. I'm going to have Joseph Smith be a video game character, and we're going to give him points for the times where, like, I really was moved by Ganesh and Colby's recent podcast, where when he was, publishing the Book of Mormon, like a lot of things that went in there, like, oh, the Catholic Church is the whore of the earth, like that was put in there to comfort German, the Germans in his life that are like, oh yeah, we're Protestant and the Catholic Church is evil, and it's like, oh well, if that's how you feel, I have this answer for you. I want to make you feel good and follow me. That's the other part of my argument is like he was doing the pious things. Maybe you can call it pious, but even his pious things, you could just as easily say he was doing those things to get more followers.
Everything he was doing was reconciliation within his own family and elsewhere, but more with his own family, with his uncle. Can't remember his name. You know, the one that was that atheist. Anyway, he was trying to bring his family together. The one that was universalist. And this and
okay,
that,
and that's the strongest argument. I do think if that's his motivation to write the Book of Mormon, I would concede that is a pious act. What do you guys think about that?
I told the cop I was a pious speeder and didn't get out of the ticket.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Did
There's
Joseph
a lot of weird
Smith write-
stuff involved.
Did Joseph
Go
write
ahead.
the Book of Mormon because he wanted to sell the novel?
Well, look at the Gold Bible Company, which was around in the 18 teens. We don't have that much information on it, but there was a group of people trying to start a company called the Gold Bible Company.
Okay, let's everybody give Brittany the floor.
Yes.
Oh, I don't know. There's just so much that goes into it. There's so much more than him just writing the Book of Mormon. I think the whole thing just sounds like lies that became bigger lies that became bigger lies, and then he figured out, hey, like I could really like come up with some weird stuff and con some people with this. And then he also got a wife out of the deal. I'm not really sure how that's involved, but I mean, he kind of like
36
snuck
wives.
away with her. Not yeah, but you know, like at the beginning of it though, it makes me wonder if there was some reason he had to get married to get the golden plates, or some, you know, it just makes me wonder how she was tricked in all this as well, using women all along the way, using people all along the way. None of that is good.
Well, the angel told him that the spirit told him that he should bring his brother. And then when he died, he was supposed to look into a mirror or something, and he saw Emma. So his next thing was to bring Emma, if I remember right. So there's that.
Yeah, he was a complex character, and like I still would concede today that like he in his time was an innovator. He was progressive.
Yes.
He gave a lot of more liberal and compassionate theological answers compared to other Christian sects of his day. Like I concede all of that, but he himself, a pious man, like
I don't see that.
Yeah, I just don't think he's a pious man. Like he definitely, kind of like what Brittany was saying, like I kind of view him as like he was a con man, he was a fraud, he used religion, sure, but he's kind of surprised by his own success and he just kept on going with it.
Wow,
well, Laura asked, was it, did he buy what he was selling?
No.
Yeah, well,
because he
not.
knew he had to keep parts of it secret. He kept having to change it. He knew.
I think we've had some great discussion on cognitive dissonance, and we've got
this is
over
great.
2 hours. So it's time to
Okay,
end
yeah,
the show.
to bring it back. Oh, sorry. I was going to say one more thing about cognitive dissonance. I think
let me just finish this.
we
and then I'll
invent
give
terms
you
like
the
that.
floor.
Okay, go ahead.
We'll have Gene put the link in the comments so that if you'd like to come on for the after show, we'd love to have you.
Yes.
And anyway, go ahead, Kendall. Say what you were going to say.
Oh, to bring it back to cognitive dissonance, I myself would use the term pious fraud in a context. For example, like if I was talking to a true believer, like I wouldn't and out call him a fraud, even though I think that's completely appropriate and the best descriptor. Like, I need a way to still keep the dialogue going with someone who disagrees with me. It's a useful term, but I don't think Joseph Smith was a pious man. I think he was a narcissist and very egotistical and selfish, and the opposite of the first definition of piety. Like, if you go down to the fake bad one, sure.
Yep.
So,
But it's a
thanks,
useful
everybody, for
term
watching. Thanks, everybody,
because
for watching.
true believers can't handle the truth.
We'll still continue this talk. We got everything listed. So thanks, everyone, for watching.
Come to the after show.
And we'll
Come to
see
the
everybody.
after show.